So I actually want to present 2 days together with the Daily Laws this entry because I think that there is a special kind of perhaps synergy between the two of them. The 2 days will be January 18th, which is titled Stop Being So Nice, and January 19th, which is titled Listen to Your Inner Authority. And I think that the reason I really want to do this is because there is a through line through the 2 days that is stunning if you're willing to give it the actual attention. But I want to get there when we get there. The 18th is titled Stop Being So Nice, and it reads as such. You pay a greater price for being nice and deferential than for consciously showing your shadow. First, to follow the latter path, you must begin by respecting your own opinions more and those of others less, particularly when it comes to your areas of expertise, to the field you have immersed yourself in. Trust your native genius and the ideas you have come up with. Second, get into the habit of, in your daily life, of asserting yourself more and compromising less. Do this under control and at opportune and do this under control and at opportune moments. Third, start caring less what people think of you. You will feel a tremendous sense of liberation. Fourth, realize that at times you must offend and even hurt people who block your path, who have ugly values, who unjustly criticize you. Use such moments of clear injustice to bring out your shadow and show it proudly. Fifth, feel free to play the impudent, willful child who mocks the stupidity and hypocrisy of others. Finally, flout the conventions that others follow so scrupulously. So I have those 6 rules here up on the screen, and we will talk about this day first and then go into the other and why I think they are so related. But I have a little bit of insight into each of these rules on their own. Respect your own opinion is the first rule set forth by Robert Greene, the author. And look, here's what I have to say about this. I don't think that there is anything magical about our intuition. To respect your own opinion is essentially to respect your own intuition first. I don't think there's anything magical about our intuition, but our intuition is, if nothing else, the culmination of our own experiences, which means the things that we have done, the things that we have failed, the things that we have succeeded, that is what builds our intuition. Following your own intuition can be, above all other things, a way to test what you know, a way to test how successful you can be on a first try. But I think we have to be careful that beginning to listen to our intuition, that beginning to follow our own opinions, does not stop our tuition, does not prohibit our intuition, our opinions from growing. Does that make any sense? That we have to get into this idea of doing what we think is right, following our intuition, going with our own opinions, but we have to use the experience wrought from those actions to form further intuitions, to form further opinions on things. The second rule there was assert more, compromise less. I think you would agree that most people in this world, if you really think about it, I think it feels the opposite, but if you really sit down and think about it, most people compromise all things in life. There's a danger to this in that nothing is serious for you if you compromise at all things. If you're willing to say, okay, we will compromise in every aspect of life, nothing can be that serious for you. You have no stake to make sure that it plays out right. You have no desire that this was the right thing after all. You are compromising there. And if you're compromising in everything, it means that nothing was that steadfast for you. Fewer people, though it feels like more people because of the nature of people who are assertive, few people are assertive in everything in life, refuse to compromise anywhere. I think that there is a danger in that too, but the lesson here from the author is to be an active participant in the creation of your life. Tomorrow will come. Tomorrow's going to happen. Wouldn't you like it if you had some say in its usage? The number 3 rule here from Robert Greene: don't care about other people's opinions of you. This is a lesson that I think is invaluable. You can love someone more than life itself. You can love someone more than your life itself. You can be willing to sacrifice your life for someone else. But the moment that you start caring about their opinion of you, they own you. For better or worse, they own you. Because here's the thing: I can control my actions. I cannot control how you perceive them. So it might be that I am doing. So let's take a very easy example. Maybe it's not a close friend. Maybe it's someone that you don't know. They go to the park and they walk every day. Whether it's negative 25 degrees, whether it's 113 degrees, this seems crazy to you. If you told that person that's crazy and they believed you, well, they might stop. They stop going, they start gaining weight, they start losing motivation. All of these things start to spiral downwards because you in your mind thought this person must be crazy and you decided to voice that. Now, on that other person's end of things, all they have to do is hear someone tell them they're crazy and think, well, yeah, maybe to you. And then they keep walking. You can care about someone more than life itself, but you can't control their thoughts, which means you can't care about their opinion of you. The number 4 rule here: sometimes you have to offend. Ask yourself this: are you ever offended? I think obviously the answer is yes. Are your wishes ever discarded by others? Obviously, the answer there is yes. Of course, those things happen. You get offended and people don't care about your opinions from time to time. And at the end of that day, you act reasonably about those things. This is a point that I'm going to make that's a little bit different than the book here. So, every time someone discredits your ideas, you act reasonably. Every time someone offends you, you act reasonably. So the people who don't act reasonably are unreasonable. The people who go to the ends of their ways to negatively affect someone who has offended them, the people who go to the ends of their means to negatively affect someone who has discredited their opinions, those people are crazy people. Those people are unreasonable. So, if you are not willing to offend people, if you are not willing to discredit someone else's ideas, what that means is the only people you are acting as if they matter are the unreasonable people. You are ceding all power to the unreasonable people. Is that the life you want to live? Is that the world in which you want to work? The number 5 point here is one that I think I'm also going to make a little bit of a different point than the author had made himself. Mock stupidity and hypocrisy. There's 2 real reasons in my view to do this. Number 1, you want to live in a world where there is less stupidity, where there is less hypocrisy. Number 2 is this: When you mock stupidity, when you mock hypocrisy, the people that you mocked for being stupid and for being hypocrites, they are waiting with bated breath for you to do something stupid, for you to do something hypocritical. And so, outrightly, outwardly, mocking stupidity and hypocrisy is an insurance that you will mind your own stupidity and hypocrisy ever more vigilantly than you would have before. Pardon me. The number 6 thing here is flout convention. So there's a story that I was told by a former manager about his family that I then, just a couple months, this was a decade ago, this guy told me this story about his family. And I heard this same story on the internet just a couple weeks ago. So I'm assuming that this is just one of those old wives' tales / sort of church sermon stories that gets passed around. So the moral of the story is flout convention, right? There was a man and his wife, and they were cooking dinner. She was cooking dinner for his birthday. We'll do it this way. I'm making this up on the spot. She was cooking dinner for his birthday, and he wanted ham. And when she presented the ham for dinner, it was square. She had cut off both ends and both sides of the ham. And he thought that's a little bit strange. Why did you do that? So he asks her why she cut off the ends and the sides of the ham. And she said, I don't know. My mother always made ham that way. That's how my mother taught me how to cook ham. So I just did it. I assume that it helps the marinating juices in. I don't know. So he thought that's funny. For Thanksgiving, they go to her mother's house. And when she presents the Thanksgiving ham, the ends and the sides are cut off. So he asks her, hey, why do you cut off the ends and the sides of the ham? And she said, I don't know. My mother always did it that way. I assume that it's something for seasoning. It's something to make the ham taste better, but it's just always the way that I've done it. He thought that's funny. I don't think that's true. So for Christmas, the whole family gets together. So Grandma's there, his grandmother-in-law, from whom his wife and his mother had learned to cook ham, was there. Grandma's not cooking ham, but Mom is. So he goes up to Grandma and he says, hey, I got a question for you. My wife and your daughter, they always cut off the ends and the sides of the ham when they're cooking it. Why is that? And she said, I don't know. When I was cooking ham, I always cut off the ends and the side because we only had a pan that was so big. So for generations, they were cutting off perfectly good ham and casting it aside because 3 generations ago, 2 generations back, they did not have a pan to fit an entire ham. So this is a cutesy story, of course, but what it does is it represents the fact that convention is the death of individuality. Convention is the death of first principles thinking. The man's wife was cooking ham that way, casting out all of that good meat, because generations prior, they had something they had to work around. The workaround was passed down. So for generations, for holiday and holiday and holiday, for generations, they had been wasting meat and money. Don't waste your money, meat. Being an individuality, flouting convention would have said, well, maybe that's true that they cut off the sides and the ends for flavor, but I'm going to cook it one time without doing that just to see. That's first principles, starting there and moving forward. So I think that flouting convention is one of the best things you can do. Now, the kissing page to this is titled Listen to Your Inner Authority, and it reads as such. You are not here merely to gratify your impulses and consume what others have made, but to make and contribute as well, to serve a higher purpose. To serve this higher purpose, you must cultivate what is unique about you. Stop listening so much to the words and opinions of others telling you who you are and what you should like and dislike. Judge things and people for yourself. Question what you think and why you feel a certain way. Know yourself thoroughly, your innate tastes and inclinations, the fields that naturally attract you. Work every day on improving those skills that mesh with your unique spirit and purpose. Add to the needed diversity of culture by creating something that reflects your uniqueness. Embrace what makes you different. Not following this course is the real reason you feel depressed at times. Moments of depression are a call to listen again to your inner authority. Now, this might not seem immediately, it might not seem immediately available why I would talk about these 2 days at the same time, especially since a lot of it overlaps. But the previous day began with a quote about the shadow. Remember, that quote on the shadow reads as such: Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. Guys, what I'm contending here is that the shadow is your inner authority. The voice inside you, the shadow inside you, should be expressed, should be part of who it is you are every day. I contend that the inner shadow is 80%, or the shadow is 80% of your inner authority. But I don't think that the inner authority is, or I don't think that the shadow is 80% of your inner authority. Does that make sense? 80% of your inner authority is the shadow telling you what it is that you should be doing because you are the authority, saying, don't listen to those other people. Perhaps you are strong enough and smart enough to do these things on your own. The shadow, perhaps, the good part of the shadow is a Sigma type personality, telling you, hey, go it on your own for a little bit. Figure this out for yourself. But I do think that the shadow itself is much larger than that. I just think that 80% of the inner authority is the shadow, not that the shadow is 80% inner authority. So anyway, guys, that is the 4th episode of The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. If you like this sort of thing, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this with other individuals who might be on this path. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, this is one of the things that I talk about on this channel. So consider hitting the subscribe button in order to stick around for more. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.